Hey, how's it going, everybody? Charlie Wilson here, aka Sinister Charlie. Welcome back. So, um, there's a guy who hangs around in my comments. His name is Irish, and he super chatted me $10, and he told me to watch this. He didn't have to donate $10 to the super thanks. Sorry, um, but yeah, I was probably gonna watch this anyway. So, thanks for that. But yeah, we're gonna watch this. This is from Forgotten History: Revenge and Justice, the brutal legacy of Buford. Pusser. Puss. Anyway, yeah, he'll probably say how to pronounce it properly. I don't mean to make fun. But yeah, let's go ahead and sub. Let's like, and the things are in the go. Oh, and he was saying that I was talking about Walking Tall the other day, the movie, The Rocks, and the Johnny Knoxvilles, and that one guy from Band of Brothers that I don't remember his name. Um, but yeah, I guess this is the true story based off of the movie Walking Tall. So yeah, go.
In 1973, the film Walking Tall hit theaters,
Oh yeah,
starring
yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Don
I guess it's a.
Baker,
Oh,
depicting the experiences of Sheriff Buford.
it's okay. It's a remake, but yeah. Who was that actor again? What do you say?
In 1973, the film Walking Tall hit theaters, starring Joe Don Baker,
Oh, Joe Don
depicting the
Baker.
experiences of Sheriff Buford Pusser, a former
Pusser.
Marine and
All right.
professional wrestler turned lawman who fought crime and corruption in McNairy County, Tennessee. That film was followed by a series of releases such as Walking Tall Part 2 in
Uh,
1975, Walking Tall The Final Chapter in 1977, and a short lived TV series that ran on NBC in 1981 for one season with 7 episodes, all starring Bo
Jeebus.
Svensson. Then the
Okay,
remake,
there you go.
starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was released in 2004. The story has become legendary, but what was the real story? Who was Buford Pusser?
Who are you?
How did he become a legendary figure? What did he really do? What was his fate? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and
Hi,
Marine Corps
Colin.
veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History.
Hoorah. This is well put together. Um, yeah, Forgotten History. Yeah, this is very well produced so far.
Buford Hayes Pusser was born on December 12, 1937, in Finger, McNairy County, Tennessee. His father, Carl Pusser, was the police chief of Adamsville, Tennessee. Buford was a celebrated athlete who played high school football and basketball despite having asthma. And at 6 feet 6 inches tall and
Jesus.
250 pounds by age 16, he was
Oh my
an
God.
intimidating figure.
That's a big boy.
He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps when he graduated from high school. His service ended in boot camp when he was given a medical discharge for asthma.
Oh, that's not good.
In 1957, he moved to Chicago, becoming a professional wrestler known as Buford the Bull, following the pro wrestling circuit around the country for the next 2 years. He traveled the semi-professional wrestling circuit and was very popular. He once wrestled a tame grizzly bear and won.
Jesus.
During one trip, he met his future wife, Pauline Mullins Vance, a divorced mother of 2 children, Michael and Diane Vance, and they were married on December 5, 1959. Pusser gave up wrestling, and in Chicago,
Wrestling.
he worked for the Union Paper Bag Company for 3 years before returning to Tennessee in 1962. Upon arriving back home, he immediately had a run-in with local criminals, as the county was plagued by crime and corruption. As he stated, I was beaten and robbed on the Mississippi-Tennessee state line, and the local law enforcement wasn't doing anything about it, he said in an interview. That's when I decided to run for sheriff. Following in his father's footsteps, he became the Adamsville police chief and constable from 1962 to 1964. Pusser was well aware of the widespread criminal activity in the state, especially in his county where moonshining Illegal gambling, extortion, robbery, and prostitution were rampant.
I liked a couple of those things. Yeah. Moonshining's just fun. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Murders went unsolved, and there were no real arrests or prosecutions of criminals. When Sheriff James Dickey was killed in an auto accident, Pusser ran for the office and was elected sheriff of McNairy County, Tennessee, becoming the youngest sheriff in Tennessee's history at age 27.
Damn.
Dickey was well known to be involved with the State Line Mob and was alleged to have run a hit squad for Kirksey Nix Jr., who was head of the Dixie Mafia, and his henchwoman and common-law wife, Louise Hathcock, herself a member of the State Line Mob. The State Line Mob had everybody with power in their pockets and even tried to bribe Pusser with an offer of $1,000 per month to ignore their crimes.
Jesus.
Instead, he chose to disrupt their operations of 87 whiskey stills by 1965.
Boo! I mean, all right, I guess.
As soon as he took the oath of office in 1964, Pusser began targeting the Dixie Mafia and the State Line Mob, beginning with their illegal whiskey operation. He was a protector of the community, doing so alone.
Hey, finger off the trigger, sir. Finger discipline.
Other deputies were inspired to join his cause. According to those who knew him, he had an unshakable morality and code of ethics, which would see him marked for death on several occasions. His first major operation was busting up the moonshine ring that ran illegal booze through Tennessee and into Mississippi. As a result, Pusser survived several assassination attempts.
Jesus.
He started his career not carrying a gun, only a large 4-foot-long hickory club similar to a baseball bat. That was until he was shot at several times while in his patrol car, and he also had problems with some of his deputies, who he believed were on the take, so he fired most of them and hired new men. Following several successful operations where he raided the first 42 stills and arrested 75 moonshiners in his first year alone, he was attacked, possibly by members of the Dixie Mafia moonshiners, to prevent him from shutting down their operation, which he had crippled. He was stabbed 7 times in the chest and left to die by a roadside, but he survived. After recovering from the attack, Pusser made it his personal mission to destroy the moonshiners in an act of personal vengeance. On February 1st, 1966, Louise Hathcock lured Pusser into an ambush when she called in a robbery complaint at the Shamrock Motel. That motel was just one of many locations which housed illegal gambling, prostitution, and was a storehouse for illegal whiskey, from where it was loaded into vehicles for distribution. When Pusser and a deputy walked through the door, Hathcock fired at Pusser with a .38 caliber revolver. The first bullet went over his head and into a window. The second time she pulled the trigger, the gun misfired. Pusser returned fire, killing Hathcock. Pusser believed Nix, serving time in prison, ordered the hit as he was still running operations from behind bars.
Dude, that's
See
crazy.
our video on Nix.
I had no idea any of this stuff was going on in the South. Well, I mean, you knew illegal booze running and stuff like that, but like I didn't know that there was like a mafia, like a mob in the South. That's pretty cool. Well, it's not cool for him, but.
And the Dixie Mafia. One of Pusser's deputies, P.D. Plunk, knew Nix and Louise Hathcock, and he described her as being as vicious as Al Capone, ordering her own hits and running an assassination squad with Nix. Pusser had almost single-handedly cleaned out the county and made a lot of enemies along the way. On January 2nd, 1967, Pusser was shot 3 times by an unidentified gunman during a traffic stop.
How many times is this guy gonna get shot and stabbed? Yeah, I don't even.
And again, he survived.
God.
But the criminals were not yet through trying to kill him. Early one morning on August 12, 1967, Pusser received a call at 4:30 a.m. about a disturbance just outside of town. So, being always vigilant, he prepared himself for whatever trouble may be waiting for him.
Don't go.
His wife, Pauline, asked to join him, and as they were driving down New Hope Road, the couple were ambushed. Bullets were fired into their vehicle, and Pauline was shot in the head, killed instantly.
Oh my God.
He floored it, then stopped 2 miles away to tend to his wife's wounds. The assailants again ambushed them, firing 30 caliber bullets into their vehicle. Pusser was shot in the face, and another car drove up next to them and opened fire on them as well. 2 bullets.
Hey, they didn't explain any of this in that Rock movie. The Rock movie was more, lighthearted. My God. He only got beat up by the guys at the casino. I mean, it would have been...
passed through Pusser's lower jaw. The left-hand side of his face had been blown away, and it's thought the assassins only left the scene because they believed no one could have survived the hail of bullets. The Selmer police chief heard the call on the radio from Pusser as he was under attack, and he and his wife were found just north of the Tennessee-Mississippi state line on US 45. Pusser was still sitting behind the wheel and his wife lying on the seat with her head in his lap. Investigators found 14 spent .30 caliber cartridges on the road where Pusser said the shooting occurred, about 3 miles from the state line. The Pusser car was hit 11 times. Pusser endured multiple surgeries and jaw reconstructions in a recovery that lasted almost a month, but again he survived. After 14 plastic surgeries, his mutilated jaw was repaired. Upon returning, Pusser believed that Nix and his associates, Mike Gillich, underboss of Biloxi, and Pete Halat, were behind the assassination attempt, although there were no indictments or arrests related to the shooting and murder of Pauline.
You could get away with so much more back then, dude. No cameras or internet. Like, fuck.
Pusser returned to duty a changed man, more driven and determined than ever, and he wanted revenge. Pusser and some loyal deputies had established a network of informants, just as the criminals had. He also survived another attack by 6 men at the same time. 3 of them ended up in hospital, while the other 3 went to prison. He made many arrests only to have the charges drop against those he captured, or they were given very light sentences despite the serious charges against them. This was when Pusser allegedly went a little off the reservation. Pusser hunted down those he knew were involved. 3 of Nix's associates were killed over the next 3 years. While Buford Pusser was a law enforcer beyond compare, he wasn't afraid to take the law into his own hands, or so it was alleged at the time. Some called it playing the mob at their own game. Pusser was never able to bring his wife's killers to justice, but one of the group, Carl Towhead White, was gunned down several years after Pauline's passing, with many people believing that Pusser hired an assassin to do it or killed him himself. 2 more of the killers were found shot dead in Texas, with rumors circulating that it was Pusser who had killed them. Nix himself was imprisoned again for committing another murder. There are rumors that Pusser was responsible for the deaths of Nix's associates, although there has never been any conclusive evidence. But if that were the case, Nix may have avoided being killed himself by being imprisoned. Pusser shot and killed an intoxicated Charles Russell Hamilton on December 25, 1968, after responding to a complaint that Hamilton had threatened his landlord with a gun. In 1970, Pusser was forced to step away from his role as sheriff because term limits kept him from running for office again, and 2 years later he was defeated, a move he blamed partly on the furor surrounding the movie Walking Tall, which was
so that came out like when he was still okay. Yeah. Joe Don Baker. I remember Joe Don Baker mostly from Mystery Science Theater because I used to watch his movies a lot on there. Oh my God.
Autobiographical account of Pusser's life. Many local people had not been very happy about the way in which they were portrayed in the film, and Pusser had become unpopular even with law-abiding folk. Neither Nix or his crew were ever charged with the murder of Pauline and the wounding of Buford, although Nix was sentenced to the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola for the 1971 Easter Sunday murder of New Orleans grocer Frank J. Corso. According to a 1990 AP story in The Town Talk, a newspaper in Alexandria, Louisiana, Nix denied being involved in the drive-by ambush on the Pussers. Pusser returned as constable and tried to run for sheriff again in the next election in 1972, but he was unable to swing the votes. Buford Pusser was driving home from the county fair on August 21st, 1974, after he negotiated the sequel movie to Walking Tall. His Corvette hit an embankment barrier on U.S. Route 64 and the intersection at Lawton Road 4 miles west of Adamsville. The Corvette drove off the road at high speed, and he was thrown from the car after it caught fire, resulting in his death. Rumors surrounding the crash have wondered whether it was actually an accident or whether this was a successful assassination attempt, possibly a hit ordered by Nix from prison. There were rumors of sabotage to the steering mechanism and the tie rods, and the state trooper who worked the accident, Paul Irvin, later became the sheriff of McNairy County. Irvin claimed that Pusser's death was caused by drunk driving without a seatbelt.
That's possible.
But Buford's daughter, Dwana Pusser, a passenger in another car, came upon the scene of the accident just minutes later. The accusation that Pusser was drunk was refuted by the people he was with, and there had not been any alcohol consumed during the event. There was no detailed investigation of the car, nor was an autopsy performed, which raised suspicions and violated basic police procedure in such an accident. Shortly after his death, community members turned Pusser's house into a museum dedicated to the law enforcer. The Buford Pusser Museum was officially established in 1988 and displays photographs and memorabilia to keep his memory alive. It is located at 342 Pusser Street, Adamsville, Tennessee, 38310.
That's really cool, man.
It is filled with memorabilia of Buford's life and career and posters of the film Walking Tall. During his 6-year tenure as sheriff, Pusser survived at least 7 assassination attempts and several violent encounters.
Jesus.
He was once thrown out of a window and was nearly run over by a car. He twice killed criminals in self-defense, was personally shot 8 times and stabbed 7 times.
Good God.
All because he believed in doing the right thing.
That's pretty
And
cool.
he survived them all. But Pusser faced numerous challenges throughout his career, including political opposition, personal vendettas and rivalries, assassination attempts, and internal conflicts within the law enforcement community. His unwavering commitment to upholding the law and seeking justice often brought him into conflict with powerful and influential adversaries, leading to a continuous stream of challenges that tested his resolve and character. Pusser also faced dangers from neighboring county law enforcement agencies, especially small-town police and sheriff's departments who were deeply involved with the mob. It was believed that many of the attempts to kill him emanated from other law enforcement agencies. There was and still is great controversy after his death. Although Buford had adopted the children of divorcee Pauline when he married her, his stepdaughter Diane Mullins Vance, known as Pidge, never had a good relationship with Buford, and she began to spread unfounded rumors that Buford had killed Pauline before the ambush.
What the fuck?
The only daughter of Buford and Pauline was Dwana Pusser, who was the museum curator and held the rights to his story until she died in 2018. Dwana was devoted to her father, while she stated that the stepdaughter Diane and Buford butted heads. Diane apparently told people that Buford was a man to be afraid of and was the source of the rumors. Former Arkansas lawman Mike Elam, author and podcaster of Buford Pusser, The Other Story, started digging into Pusser's past. For him, the hero story wasn't adding up, especially that Pusser's wife Pauline was mistakenly murdered in an ambush that was intended to take him out. Elam believes Pusser killed his wife and covered it up, although there has been no credible evidence to support the assertions that Buford killed Pauline, whose body was exhumed and re-examined in 2024. The murder scene alone, the bullet holes, angles of shots, and massive amount of firepower poured into the car rendered that an impossibility. Buford did not even carry any weapons in 30.
Yeah, what would be the logic of it? Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Like, okay. I just don't get it. It wouldn't make sense. Kill your wife right before you knew you were about to get ambushed. And it's like, okay. I don't know.
And definitely did not shoot himself in the face twice.
Yeah.
However, Pusser did clean up McNairy County, but after his death, the Dixie Mafia returned. and the corruption was so bad, in 1983, the FBI designated the county and the sheriff's office as criminal enterprises. Buford Pusser is buried in Adamsville Cemetery, Adamsville, Tennessee, alongside his wife, Pauline. According to records, Pauline's death is still an active investigation. Pusser is a folk hero, a larger-than-life character, and something out of a storybook, so
Yeah,
it's
for
not
real.
surprising that he is regularly mentioned in modern popular culture. The Buford Pusser Festival is a 3-day event
Hey,
held
Pusser
annually in May
Festival.
in Adamsville, Tennessee. The people still remember.
Word up, man.
Thank you for watching this
You're
episode of
welcome.
Forgotten History. If you liked what you saw, please
did.
click like, share, and subscribe.
I did. Yeah, it's a good channel. Thank you, Irish, for suggesting the video and giving me $10. But no, I would have watched this anyway. This is pretty cool, man. Yeah, shot 9 times, or how 8 times? I don't know. That's 50 Cent, man. He ain't got shit on this guy. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please likey and subscribe down below. Makes me feel good inside. Helps out the channel. And if you have any more suggestions, put them down in the comments, and I will get to them eventually. You don't have to give me money for it. But yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And bye.